Hello, everyone. Good morning. We are very glad to welcome you all here. I see you. My name is Jane, and I will be your moderator for this session. I will be managing our chat and ensure that everything runs smoothly during the presentation. Before we start, just a quick check. If you see and hear me clearly, could you please type a plus sign in a chat? Plus sign. Please drop a plus in a chat if you see. Okay. Thank you. I see your pluses. Great. Today's webinar is all about data recovery from after formatting SSD. And it appears to be one of the burning questions for most data recovery engineers and forensics experts worldwide. And we are excited to share our strategy and help you turn these cases into successes. I have no doubt that you'll find today's webinar both practical and enlightening. Before we begin, I'd like to tell that all questions are welcome. You can type your question in a chat or use a dedicated Q&A box. You can find it at the bottom of your Zoom panel. And we will have time for a dedicated Q&A session at the end. And now it's my great pleasure to introduce our speaker, my colleague George. He is an AceLab engineer and training instructor with over 7 years of experience. He resolves data recovery cases on a daily basis. He conducts online and on-site training courses worldwide and takes the stage at major data recovery and forensics events worldwide. So let's get started. George, the virtual floor is yours.
Thank you, Jane. Hello, guys. Let me quickly turn on my camera. Here we are. So first of all, thank you for this introduction. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's a pleasure to talk about such an important problem in modern data recovery. So as Jane said, today we're going to speak about data recovery from formatted SSDs, which is a huge thing that AceLab managed to deal with, managed to understand how to solve such cases and how to work with them. But before we continue with the actual presentation, just a couple of words about our company. So AceLab company is a world leader in data recovery technologies. We are on the market for more than 30 years. And for more than 30 years, we are empowering data recovery engineers of all levels with the help of our technology that can basically help you in any challenge that you can face, in trainings that builds real life skills that helps to work with pretty much any media storage device that ends up on your desk. And of course, the technical support department that you can use, that you can count on in cases that you cannot solve for yourself. So, first of all, let's answer the question, which storage devices are most common on your desk, because based on this, we can actually understand what are the most burning cases that you have in your laboratories and in your offices. And of course, if we take a look at 2025, at 2026 year, we can definitely say that right now NVMe SSD market is, if not on top, but very close to it. And each year we will see the improvements in the market of the SSDs. The amount of SSDs that we receive in our technical department is growing every year. And right now I can say that if we not at 50-50% between hard disk drives and SSDs that we receive in our technical support department, we are actually very close. So SSDs are taking the world, NVMe market is taking the world. It will grow, and it will not stop until it conquers the market of media storage devices. That's why we need to be prepared to work not only with common SATA drives, but with NVMe SSDs as well. And in the end of 2025, we were having our annual offline AceLab conference. And on this conference, we asked the clients and the users of our tools, what is the biggest challenge in modern SSD recovery for your laboratory? So we ask them to prioritize the problems that you can face. And first we started with the with the firmware problems, with the bad sectors imaging, with deleted data, formatted partitions, and hardware corruptions on the PCB. And actually, if we want to prioritize it, yeah, of course, firmware problems like damaged translator or no passport information or busy state is the very, very uh, big part of any data recovery case. And the second part, like the second place, yeah, it's between bad sectors during imaging and deleted data or formatted partitions. And after this annual conference where we introduced the solution for deleted and formatted partitions on the SSDs, I am constantly asking our clients if they have more SSDs based on these problems. And yes, each time, each day, more and more people are bringing the deleted cases on the SSDs with formatted partitions. And that's why when we ask how often do you get formatted SSDs, we can say that half of the drives that data recovery companies, data recovery laboratories are receiving, half of these drives are formatted. So that's why this is actually the burning problem, and this is actually the solution that a lot of users of PC3000 technology were waiting for. So let's try to answer the question. What do you usually do with deleted or formatted data on the SSDs? What is the approach that you can try to use? I didn't mean to erase everything. This is the one of the most common sayings that the owner of the SSD, when owner of the SSD brings you the formatted drive to your laboratory and saying that, it was working, I was not touching anything, I just tried to erase one file, but I erased the whole drive. You cannot even believe me how much time I heard it from my friends and from the clients and from the people who are working with the data recovery. So what to do in such cases and how often do you get such cases? Actually, most of the cases connected with the quick formatting happens by accident. It's not like the person is trying to specifically delete the whole drive or rewrite the whole drive. Sometimes it can happen because of the operating system reinstallation or installation. The person that just chosen the wrong drive selection, and of course Windows machine tries to quickly format it, the drive before, and there we go, we have no data. Cleaning up a drive in disk management or disk utility, again, you was trying to clean drive D but accidentally cleaned drive E, which is a common issue. External drive confusions, if you have multiple similar looking drives, you may just mix them out and again delete something important from not the needed drive. And factory reset of laptops, tablets, or gaming consoles. Sometimes people who do not understand completely how the media storage device is working and how the PC is working, if they have any problems, they just go and factory reset the settings, and only then understand that with the factory reset settings, the data will be deleted, removed, and formatted as well. So most of the time, it's just the accidents, but of course, it is not helping us as data recovery specialists, because such cases can happen very, very often. First of all, we need to understand what is the difference between the formatting, how formatting actually works. So in Windows operating system, we have two options. We have quick format, which is fast. You just need to create a new file system and there you go. And we have full format, which is slow. It takes time to overwrite the whole partition. And of course, most of the time, users of the PCs don't want to wait. They just need a quick solution, and that's why most of the time they are using the quick format option, which is again just creating the new file system and pretty much is not deleting anything beyond it. Full formatting, of course, it's another topic, and in this case, it's completely overwriting the whole partition. So most of the time, people don't want to wait. They just use quick format and think that it is pretty much the same. So how quick format works on hard disk drives? First of all, yeah, let's understand and find the differences. Before the quick format, the data on the hard disk drives, let's say that it is this green part on my screen. So it is old user data and file system metadata. What will happen when we click quick format? Actually, the Windows operating system, it will just write the new file system metadata over the previous one. But most of the old user data and old file system metadata will still remain on the drive. And because of that, the metadata can be searched, it can be analyzed, and this will give you access to user files and folders that were seems like they are gone. And with such cases, just on regular hard disk drives, there are a lot of actually different ways and different logical data recovery softwares that can help. Some of them are free, some of them ask you for some money, but I mean, there are plenty of solutions for such cases. And of course, PC3000 systems can also do the same thing and even more. So if we compare like our data extractor features for analyzing the data, it's on the different level. But let's summarize. Yeah, we will work like this. We will have a topic and we will immediately summarize everything that we just said. So after a quick format, most of the data is still accessible on hard disk drive. There is a lot of software that can help you in such cases, and the chances of recovery are very high. And this was actually true until SSDs enters the market. We need to understand that SSD technology works with different approach in comparison with hard disk drives. So it's completely different way of work, it's completely different technology, and therefore the way how data is stored inside the SSDs is the completely different story as well. So as I was saying, the SSDs are rising. I am talking about all the SSDs, not only NVMEs, but all SSDs. And if we take a look at this graph, in 2025, the production of SSDs can even outrun the production of the hard disk drives. So once again, if you want to stay up to date, if you want to be ready for any challenge that you can face today, tomorrow, and in the future, you need to have specific tools for such purposes. So how SSDs work? In comparison with hard disk drives, the SSDs is all about performance, is all about speed, is all about how fast it can work with the data. So of course, reading speeds of SSDs are way higher than the regular hard disk drives. Writing speed of the SSDs as well is pretty fast, especially if we are talking about writing the data to an empty space. When you are first buying the SSDs, when it is fully formatted, when it is empty, you can just run a couple of benchmarks and you can see high-end speeds on modern SSDs. But overwriting the data, so basically changing the existing data, this is where the SSDs are not shining, I would say, because it takes time for them to remove the previously written data, overwrite it with the new one, and then the process is done. So that's why manufacturers of the SSDs are trying to make it possible to write to an empty space most of the time. And what operating system can do with SSDs? Of course, it can read the data, it can write the data, it can get information about the capacity, about the serial number. So pretty much do the same thing with any media storage device. And most importantly for us, operating system can trim the data. These 4 letters was a nightmare for a very long time for data recovery specialists all over the world. So writing without trim basically means overwriting. It was slow because SSD needs to first override the data when you're asking it to do. Override the data, remove the previously written data and overwrite a new one. But writing after trim works a lot faster, because the idea of trim was that in the background, SSD will rewrite the previously deleted data with zeros, and therefore it would be possible for the new data to be written to an empty blocks. So basically meaning that it will be written pretty quickly. So once again, what is the trim? And do you know that modern hard disk drives may also use trim? Yes, no, nice joke. Actually, it is true. Modern hard disk drives, if they are based on SMR technology, they can use trim as well. So you are not protected from such problems anymore, even if you are working with the hard disk drives. So how trim works? We have the media storage device, and blocks with the data are being used. Blocks contain the data, and SSD or hard disk drive returns the data to the owner of the device if he asked for it. Then, as soon as operating system sends the trim command to the SSD, blocks are stopped being in use, but blocks are still contains data. But SSD on the translator level thinks that SSD right now is empty. And then, because of that, when the SSD is not in progress, maybe you are just doing something on your hard disk drive on your PC, or you just left your PC and you are watching some kind of movie, or you are working, in the background, data will be erased, and you may not even notice it because it will be happening pretty quickly. And after this data is erased, blocks are not in use, blocks with the data are erased completely, and SSD actually returns the real zeros. So we need to find the difference between the second position, where blocks are not in use because SSD forgets about it, but they still contain the data, and the situation when the blocks are not in use and they are completely erased because trim has already done its job. So this is the key thing. This is the key difference, that we still have a gap when SSD thinks that it is formatted, but data still remains there. So how quick format works on SSDs? When you do the quick formatting in Windows, the operating system sends the trim command to the drive, and only then initialize a new file system. So how does it work? Before the quick format, we again have our green data, old user data, and file system metadata. Then you are sending the quick format command to the drive. Drive first initialize the trim. So SSD right now thinks that data is actually deleted because blocks are not in use anymore. And even further, the operating system writes a new file system metadata. So when we are using logical recovery tools, we can see only new file system metadata and only zeros. So if we take a look at logical data recovery tools after trim, they will be failing. Why? Because SSD will not return the old metadata, will not return the old data, and it will be initialized with the new file system and the zeros, all because of trim. Because trim is working on the translator level with the SSD, and SSD actually believes that there are no more data on the drive, and that's why it's just showing you zeros. Doesn't matter if you connect it to your PC or you use any logical data recovery tools, the data will be gone. So if we summarize immediately, for hard disk drives, the chances of recovery are very high. For SSDs, it looks impossible. And that was true until SMR hard disk drives appear on the market. Why? Because, as I said, trim can be initialized on modern SMR hard disk drives as well. And how to recover data from the formatted SMR hard disk drives, I think we will talk about this later. I think it's another story for the next time. Today, let's focus on the SSDs. So if we return back, if we think about if it is still actually possible to work with the formatted SSDs, are there any possible options? Are there some gaps that we can use to get access to the data? With the help of unique PC3000 approach through the technological mode, we are actually able right now to work even with the deleted data and the formatted data on the modern SSDs. So first of all, let's understand what's inside an SSD. We have service area. This is the part of NAND memory chip where space is reserved for firmware, for translator, for some modules, for some system blocks, system files, and this service area is not available for operating system, obviously, yeah, because if any user can access service area, you never know what can happen, and the manufacturers are protecting themselves, protecting the SSD, and that's why service area is not visible for you when you're just using normal operating system or any logical data recovery tools. Then we have user data, which is the biggest part of any media storage device. This data is, of course, available to operating system because this is actually the part where the owner of the SSD is keeping all the data, pictures, videos, music, applications, documents, and so on and on. And also, we have the additional area with the hidden data. This is user data hidden from operating system, which includes caches and versions of the data. And this exact hidden area is what will help us to get access to previously deleted data. Information from the NAND memory chip should be uploaded to the RAM, yeah, and this way the SSD is actually working. So by default, you are able to work only with the user data through the operating system, but technological mode opens new possibilities for you, because with the help of PC3000 systems, you can work not only with the user data, but you can work with service area, and you can even get access to the hidden data, which can help you to communicate with the RAM, to communicate with the CPU, upload custom firmware, and get access to the data that may look like deleted previously. So what can we get with the standard mode? Yeah, the blue areas are written and not erased, and the white areas are erased by trim. In order to get access to this erased data, to this hidden area, we need to work with the service area. We need to work with the different versions of the translator and make the SSD remember the data that has been removed, that has been deleted. And of course, working with service area can only be done with the PC3000 tools. And recovery of the hidden data and the hidden area can only be done with the help of the technological mode. So let's imagine that we have access to the hidden data, but what to do and how to get access to the old files and directories on the SSDs. The general steps are pretty well known for you if you already know how to work with the SSDs. So first of all, we need to upload the loader. Loader is the firmware, that has been created by the developers in AceLab that provides you not only the access to the service area, but it will give you the access to the hidden area of your SSD. And now you can decide. You can get access to the user data, and with the help of the new approach, you can actually jump between the versions of the translators, like the native translator that you have right now on the SSD and the previous versions of the translators that can have information about the data before the quick format. So this is the idea, to not only rebuild the last possible translator, which we already can do for a very long time, but to play with the previous versions, to find the way how to get access to them. So what are the exact practical steps that you need to do in order to get access to the data? First, you need to prepare your drive. You need to connect your drive to PC3000 tool, enter the specific utility, follow the instructions in the utility, like putting the drive to the safe mode, uploading the loader, creating the translator in the utility. And if you don't have formatted drive, on this step, you already finished your work. You can already save the data. But if you have deleted or formatted information in your case, you will need to do some additional steps. You will need to prepare the task in data extractor, ask our software to analyze not only the latest translator that you built, but to analyze its previous versions. Based on this information, you can select the relevant versions that actually has data in them, rebuild the system, rebuild the file system and get access to the data. That's easy. So there are not so many additional steps that you need to do and that you need to follow in order to get access to the formatted data. So one more time, how will it look like in the utility? You are running the utility, you are uploading the loader, and you are creating the translator. These steps are well known already. Then you are entering the data extractor task. Data extractor is our software add-on that provides the possibility to work with the user area. Special utilities are working with the service area, and data extractor is working with the user area. But with the help of the new solution, we are combining these two parts all together. So we are creating the task in data extractor and using the access through the special utility to analyze all the versions of the translator that are present on your SSD. So what we need to do? We need to create a task based on utility, because in the utility the drive is initialized. We need to add drive access by physics. So this is the key feature, because we will work with the actual data located in the hidden area of the drive. And then add drive with translation and versions. This step basically starts the analysis, starts the search for as many versions and as many possibilities as possible. And when we just announced this technology, it was taking some time and it requires your manual correction from time to time. But right now, I will show it in a couple of minutes in the real life cases. Our developers made it as easy as possible. So it's just a few click of a few buttons and you're ready to go, and you are ready to get access to the data. So after you did it, you just need to select the relevant versions. The new virtual drive will appear. You will need to edit it and either manually or automatically select the versions of the files. So the same approach we have already used for SMR hard disk drives and flash cases. why we are talking so much about versions? Because each time when you change something in your file which is saved on your SSD, for example, you have like a big document, yeah, and today you change something, tomorrow you will add some information, the day after tomorrow you maybe delete some information from this document. Each time when you change it, a new version will appear inside the SSD. And sometimes you don't need the latest version. Yeah, maybe you remember that, oh, yesterday or the day before yesterday, I added a very, very important information, but then I removed it because I thought that it is not needed. But now I need this information. With this technology, with this approach, theoretically, you should get not only the access to the previously formatted data and formatted partitions, but also to the different versions of the files that were not even deleted. So that's why this is another key feature. What drives are supported at the moment? So at the moment, in the latest software version, we support Silicon Motion based SSDs. Any utilities based on Silicon Motion is supported. We have support for all Phison utilities. So if your drive is based on Phison and on Phison and it is formatted, you should be able to work with it. And even the one of the most like complicated controllers, yeah, Maxio controllers with the modification MAS 0902 is already in the software as well. So three most popular controllers already have the solutions for formatted SSDs. And of course, our developers are looking forward and hoping to add more vendors of the controllers to the support list in order to work with formatted SSDs. We are actually exploring the formatted world, let's say, and we are creating the articles for you to be able to stay up to date and understand exactly what we are doing. So if you miss something during this webinar, feel free to check out our articles on our blog, where we will discuss how to work with the formatted drives. As far as I know, we will make the article about each interface. So it would be SATA interface, it would be USB interface, it would be NVMe interface. So stay up to date, stay tuned, follow our articles on our blog, and feel free to check them out after the webinar. Also, check out the list of supported SSDs. You need to understand that we have a pretty big list of controllers that we support. But at the moment, not for all of them, we have the possibility to work with formatted or deleted areas. So once again, this is the list of all our supported controllers and all our supported SSDs. And additionally, if you need to recover the data from formatted SSD, it should be based either on Silicon Motion or Phison or Maxio controller on the version MAS 0902. So I think it's time for some real-life case demonstrations. Give me a moment. I will share my second screen with our software, and we will see what we can do there. So today I have two drives to show you, two cases. Both of them will be based on Silicon Motion controllers, but they will have different interface. They are basically different types of the SSDs. So the first one is the common SATA SSD. It is based on Silicon Motion 2259 XT, and we will check how this drive is working. And the second drive that we have today, it's something that we will see more often in the future. So this is how it looks like. You may think that I am showing you just the flash drive, but actually this is the future of the SSDs, because manufacturers of the controllers, they decide that it's enough for them to create controllers, regular SATA controllers, and use USB bridges in their external SSDs. They decided to produce specific native USB controllers which have the speeds and performance a lot better than the normal flash drives, but the form factor is still very small. So I'm sure that in future we will see more and more native USB SSDs than the flash drives. Even right now, if you go to any electronic store and if you are in search for USB based and USB form factor drive with the high capacity, it will not be the flash drive, it will be the native USB SSD. So, and this drive is again based on Silicon Motion controller. So what we want to do now? Now I would connect the first SSD to port number 0 of my Portable Pro system, and let's see the behavior of this drive. So port 0, this is SATA interface. Let's launch the software. Here it is. And let's see what we can do with that. First of all, I would like to show you that this drive is actually formatted, so it's not like some fake drive or something like this. If we power on this drive and go to Universal Utility to mount this drive to my PC, this is what we actually get. So right now, these are the drives that already connected to my PC. And I will also mount this SSD that is connected to port 0. So as you can see, SSD is in working state. So it's not like it's damaged or something like this. So if we mount it, here it is, and it's completely empty. Yep, it's completely empty, nothing here. Windows operating system cannot see any data and cannot see any file. All right, you may say, George, please open the data extractor task and try to do some quick disk analysis or something like this. All right, no problem. So I will not upload the loader, I will not rebuild the translator, I will not do any of this. I will go straight to data extractor task. So it would be SATA SSD format number 1. Let's click OK. Let's click Next. Choose our SATA 0 port. All the data extractor settings are default ones, so nothing special here. And if we go to Explorer to check out what we have here, we of course will have file structure, yeah, but it will be empty. This is just some basic information that is hidden from the Windows operating system. But if I launch quick disk analysis, if I launch any of this, it will not help me to find anything except for the file structure that I already have right now. So if I open map, let's close this, this part, and if I open map, you can see that it is completely empty. Doesn't matter what address I am entering, the SSD is completely empty. The SSD is filled with zeros. So doesn't matter if you launch disk analysis, if you launch raw recovery of the drive. Here, this is the only thing that you will find. the new master boot record about the new file system. And if we launch raw recovery on the whole drive, again, nothing will be found except for this newly written, newly created information of the file structure. So what to do? How to work in such cases? In such situation, you need to close data extractor task. You need to go back to the main menu and choose the special utility for your case. So this drive is based on Silicon Motion 2259XT. Let's find it in the list. Here it is. So this is universal Silicon Motion controller. You don't even need to find the specific utility for your particular drive. As long as your drive is based on the supported controller, you should be able to work with that. So this drive is, for example, from Smart Buy. But if I launch the utility, you can see that our software suggests us to work through the Radeon R5 utility, Radeon R5 family. And it doesn't matter for me because it is still based on Silicon Motion. It is still based on Silicon Motion 2259XT. Because this controller is universal, the firmware will be identical. So we can work with it with no problems. This drive, as I was saying, is in good state. So it can be just connected to your PC and you can start working with that. Not always it works like this, but doesn't matter if your drive is has some problems with the firmware or doesn't have the problems with the firmware. The approach that we are using, the steps that we are doing, it's completely identical. It's completely the same. So first you're entering the utility. If needed, utility will suggest you to short the drive with the shorting points, with the tweezers. In this case, it can switch the drive to the safe mode automatically. Yeah, when we just entered the utility, we were working with the drive logically, but when I tried to upload the loader, it's automatically switched to the safe mode, and now we are uploading the loader. How to select the loader, how to find out which loader is compatible with your firmware. Our software will suggest it to you. So right now you can see that one of them is highlighted with the gray color. All right, let's try to upload it and let's see what will happen. So we are uploading the loader. And we can see that our software is asking to upload like the second part of the loader, and it doesn't change. Perfect. If it doesn't change, let's apply the same one and see the behavior of our SSD. So it looks like there are no warning messages in the log. And let's give it a moment for the software to initialize the drive. So right now, after uploading of the loader, what is happening? Our software is getting access to the NAND memory chips, getting access to the service area, and it is scanning the service area to get as much information as possible. Just reading. It is not creating anything. It's just accessing the service area. So let's give it some time. Depending on the capacity, depending on the drive state, the amount of time that you need to wait can be a little bit different. I hope that in this case, it should not take a long time. The good sign that loader is compatible is that we can see information about our chips. So our chips ID, the vendor of the chips, not the vendor of the SSD itself, but the vendor of the chips, the type of the chips, their capacity, how many channels they have, and so on and on. So it means that we are actually doing the correct thing. We are actually working correctly with this SSD. All right, it is uploaded, it is prepared, and now I would just want to compare the behaviors of the SSD. First, we were having access by logic. Yes, so we were working with the drive with its native translator, with the translator that it has in its RAM when it powered on. But right now, after uploading of the loader, we are not working with the native translator anymore. We don't need it. The native translator has only the information about the last file system, about the new empty file system. But we can access the drive by physics. We can access the drive with the physical access. What does it mean? It means that we can recreate the translator based on the service information, based on the hidden area of the drive. And because of that, it will give us a lot more opportunities for scanning the previously deleted or previously formatted drives. So how to do it? To do it, we need to go to tests, service information, translator, and create translator. Translator creation in this case will take around 10-15 minutes, and I don't want to just sit there and watch how it is created. So that's why just before the presentation, I already created the translator for this case, and now I will just upload it from the profile folder. So give me a second. This is the profile folder that I created. As you can see, it has been done just today, just 1 hour before. And this is the translator that I will upload. So it's just for saving your time. In real life case, of course, you will need to build the translator on your drive. But because we are on webinar, because I don't want you to just sit and look at the progress bar, we need to upload it from the profile folder. Now, for the special utility, this is it. This is everything that we need to do in the special utility. Now let's open the data extractor task. So I will create completely identical data extractor task, SATA SSD format 2. Okay, next. And this is the key feature. Previously, we were working with the native translator of the SSD, with the translator and with the drive initialized on the port 0. Because the drive was in good condition, it was possible to do, but we were only accessing the empty file system. Right now, I will work not through the SATA port, I will work through the utility. Why? Because my drive is initialized in the utility. Because in the utility, we have the newly created translator. And in the utility, with the help of the utility, we will be able to analyze the versions of this translator, analyze the versions of the files. So this is the most important step during the preparation of the task, is to select the PC3000 utility and not the port that you are actually using. So choose the utility, press next. Don't forget to make data copy to enable all the features of the data extractor. Where we want to save the data, we will save it just in the folder that we created. All other settings should be default one. So let's see if it makes any difference. If we go to the same Explorer and when we try to open the the drive, it is showing us the empty drive. Yeah. So in this case, we need to select working with the utility, add drive with access by physics. This is the process that will help us to start analyzing not the last translator, but all the versions of it. So we need to click on the newly created drive. We need to go to working with the utility, add drive with translation and versions. What will happen right now? Right now, if needed, our software will re-upload the loader that we already did in the special utility, and it will start analyzing the versions of the translator and the files in the hidden area. Again, depending on how much time passed since the quick formatting, depending on how many data you was having on this drive, the time that you need to spend on the case can be different. Right now, let's take a look if it was possible to find anything here. And yes, we found the data, but it's just the newly built file system. So it's of course not enough for us. So now what we need to do, we need to edit this virtual drive. So we need to press edit. And right here, we can see that we have different versions of our of our file system and of our metadata. So let's try to click the analysis of the metadata, and let's see if it would be possible to find the data on this drive. So let's give it some time to work. Actually, depending on the case, sometimes even after you just created the just enabled analysis by physics, sometimes the file system can be already accessible for you. But sometimes you need to spend additional amount of time, additional checkings need to be done, sometimes manual checkings need to be executed. So let's leave this case in the background, and while it is searching for the data, let's analyze the second case. So right now, what I can do, first of all, I will just open the Explorer to show you that I'm connecting this SSD, this native SSD, to my front panel of the PC. It is connected, and as you can see, it is empty as well. It is completely empty, so doesn't matter what we gonna do in the Windows, we will not be able to get any access to the data. All right, let's remove this SSD and let's connect it directly to USB port of our PC 3000 Portable Pro. So it is connected. It is connected. These are the controllers that we support for native USB SSDs. So it is this one for Phison, this one for Silicon Motion. And the controller that we have in this case, it's Silicon Motion 2320G. So let's power on our flash drive. And just to make sure, let's again try to mount, not mount, but create the data extractor task, just to check if if it is actually empty or if the data is just hidden. All right, so creating the new task, USB SSD format number 1. Okay. Next, again, we're choosing the USB port and entering the software. How do you know which chipset to use from the list? I can see the question in the chat. You just need to open your case of your SSD. Yeah, you have the plastic case. If you remove the plastic case, you just need to check out the controller name. So give me a second. For example, you do like this, and there will be the controller. You are just looking at the controller name, and based on this information, you are choosing the correct chipset. Yeah, it's just physically printed on the controller. Yeah, you are correct. All right, if we go to here, again, empty partition. We don't have anything here. Doesn't matter if we launch quick disk analysis, if we launch raw recovery, we will not find anything except for the newly created, newly built file system. So what to do? How to work with this case? Just like with the previous one, we need to go back to the main screen, switch to the SSD utilities, power on our USB SSD, and launch the utility. Let's launch the utility. Again, this SSD is in working state. So let it let it prepare itself. Okay, so it is prepared, but if we right now just try to work with the native translator, we will not go anywhere. That's why what we need to do, we need to upload the loader. We need to go tests, loader uploading, and upload the loader that will be suggested by our software. It is very important because without uploading the loader and without recreating of the translator, we will not go anywhere. This will be not enough for us. So loader has been done, and now we can again upload the translator that has been prepared before the training course. So give it a moment to initialize. Let's find the the profile folder for this case. If I remember correctly, I saved the translator for it right here. So while it is uploading, let me quickly check what is happening with the drive that we were checking before. All right, it is done. We need to go to data extractor task, create a new one, USB SSD format 2, press OK, next. Again, we are not choosing the USB, we are choosing the utility that we have here. Next, all other settings are completely the same. All the other settings are completely the same, and if we open the drive right now, what we will see? We will see the empty partitions. Yeah, the partitions that does not have any data, they are new ones, so nothing to check here. But if we work with the drive through physics, it will create us a new disk, and on this disk, if we add drive with translations and versions, we should be able to find the data and proceed with it. So give it some time for analysis. This one is bigger capacity than the first case, so maybe it will take a little bit more time. As I was saying, the speed of analysis always depends on how many data you have, how many data you was having, and the capacity. The bigger the capacity, the bigger the amount of the data, the more time you need for analysis. So guys, if you have some questions, feel free to ask them in chat while we are doing this analysis. Yeah, maybe I have some time to answer your questions. So there is a question about the recording. I suppose that recording should be shared. Correct me if I'm wrong. But if you have some questions about the the cases that I'm showing or the SSDs overall, you are welcome in our chat. Yeah, so recording will be shared. So if you think that you missed something, you can always listen once again. And also, as I was saying, we are creating the articles about formatted SSDs and how to work with them. There is a question: if someone formatted the drive, how much time we have to do the recovery? It's a very good question, and unfortunately there is no exact timings for each drive. Yeah, I think it mostly depends on the scenario in which the drive was formatted. For example, a lot of people, when they format their SSD, they immediately can see that, oh, I formatted something. They remove the drive from the PC and go to data recovery laboratory, data recovery studio, and ask for help. In this case, the chances for recovery should be pretty high because not a lot of time has passed. Yeah, but sometimes other people, they do not understand immediately that they are formatted the drive, they start to write some new information over it, and of course in this scenario the time that you need to spend on such case should be a little bit more. So exact timings I cannot tell you, but there were a couple of cases in our technical support department where my colleagues managed to recover the data that has been deleted for since like 3 months ago. So that's why each case is unique. But most of the time, we recommend, yeah, if you formatted the drive, just disconnect it and go straight to the data recovery laboratory, of course. But it depends. It depends, and it depends how drive was working after the quick format. Because if it was still connected to the PC, there is a very big chance that because of the trim, yeah, data will be physically overwritten in the background. So the less time spent, the bigger the chances for how to say, the bigger the chances for recovery. Yeah, exactly that you are saying. So it all unique, it all depends on the case, but as I was saying, we managed to recover the data after the 3 months. So maybe this SSD was not the best performative SSD, yeah, but still it was possible. So each case is unique, and it's always better to check it out. And if you are not sure, you can always create like a ticket, yeah, and ask for some help. So, all right, it looks like the process is done. And let's check if we have something here. And yeah, as I was saying, yeah, sometimes you don't even need to arrange the versions, you don't even need to manually execute some additional searching. Sometimes just after creating the virtual drive, our software will manage to put the files in the correct order and give you the access to it. Let's try to open some of them just to be sure. Yeah, just to be sure that everything is working. Great. It's all working just fine. Data is accessible for you. So right now it's up to you what to do with that. If you need to save just a couple of pictures or folders, go ahead, click save and save it on your PC. If you need to do some in-depth analysis, yeah, or if you want to export the whole image, again, we are not limiting you in that. You can export data to another drive, do sector by sector copy. You can export the data to binary image if you need to do some additional, for example, forensic analysis. If you export it to binary image, you can upload it there. Or if you want to use some specific forensic products, yeah, some specific forensic tools, you can export the data to forensic formats like E01, A01, AFF, DFF, RAW, and so on, and upload it there. So once again, we are not limiting you in that. So it looks like the first SSD is still analyzing the data. I think what we can do now, I can finish with the presentation. We can have some time for Q&A session, and if the analysis of the first SSD can be finished in time, I will show you the results. But on the second case, I exactly demonstrated you what we can do with our software and how seamless it is. Yeah, so this is exactly how this solution should work. So coming back for the presentation, all the cases that I showed you today has been handled with the PC3000 Portable Pro. It's our flagship device, and with this device you can work with pretty much any media storage drive that can be found on the market at the moment. We support hard disk drives with the different interfaces. We have support for logically damaged flash drives. The list of SSDs that we support, as I was showing you, can be checked on our blog, and just look how many different adapters we have there. And we can even work with RAID. We can even work with RAID arrays. So PC3000 Portable Pro is the universal product for any drive. We have 4 diagnostic ports, so we can work with 4 drives at the same time. 3 of them can be SATA or PATA or NVMe SSD because we support PCI Express. USB host port for working with native USB SSDs or native USB hard disk drives, or for the flash drives with logical problems. You can image the data from one SSD to another at the high speed if both of them are healthy. We have touchscreen if you need to work in standalone mode without connecting the Portable Pro to laptop or to your desktop machine. Oscilloscope function is available in any mode, and with the Portable Pro we even have some a little bit faster USB port, USB 3.1. So to summarize the advantages of this approach of technological mode for PC3000 software hardware tools. PC3000 SSD is the only existing solutions for formatted and deleted SSDs. To use this new approach, SSD controller must be supported. I mean, for formatted, right now we support Silicon Motion, Phison, and Maxio controllers. It is possible to recover the data even if it was deleted months ago, as I was saying when I answered the questions. There is an option to trace previous file versions and roll back the file history. As I was saying, if you have, for example, one big document that you need to work with, and the person said to you that, I was writing something, I was removing something, I need to find the previous version. It should be possible to be done in our software as well. It is possible to scan all area of an SSD, including relocated and unused blocks. Basically, because of that, we are able to get access to the all hidden areas, to all hidden, deleted, and formatted data. Safe mode is optional, but not critical. What does it mean? It means that your drive should not be dead if you want to work with that. If your drive is in healthy condition, but it is formatted, it means that you still can work with it. And I showed you both of these cases on the healthy drives. They were not damaged or anything like this. So quick formatted SSDs are no longer such a challenge. So how do you think? You can easily do such cases with the help of PC3000 SSD systems. And if you if you want to have some additional knowledge learned, we have PC3000 training classes. This is just an example. This is just our training class in Prague, but I'm sure that we can arrange it in different places. Contact our training instructor, and we will be glad to help you with that. When you are choosing PC 3000 tools, you are getting the whole package deal together. You are getting technical support, you are getting regular software updates, uh, tutorial resources on our YouTube channel, on our webinars, on our blog, training courses, both offline and online and offline conferences and meetups, and of course networking, because networking is a very big part of any process and of data recovery process as well, because you can share your ideas, you can share the solutions that you may know with your colleagues all over the globe. PC 3000 is the complete toolkit for data recovery professionals. So thank you very much for attending this webinar, and I think right now we have some time for talking about the questions. So if you have any questions, please let us know. Let us know in chat, and I will be glad to check them out.
Hi, George. I've collected two questions from the attendees in the document, which I shared to you previously. You can check. So right now you can answer these two questions while maybe other attendees will type their other questions.
So yeah, let me just quickly open the document. I face one issue regarding ASUS laptop automatic formatted. We can't find the data. I think that if you have our tools, yeah, you can create the ticket, and we will be glad to help you with that. In ASUS laptop, probably there is like a common SSD installed, and as long as this SSD is supported, I'm almost sure that we will be happy to help you with this case. There was another question saying that trim is basically anti-forensics. I would not say that the manufacturers of the SSDs decided to add trim to help the criminals to save their data. Yeah, it is done for better work with the SSDs, for the SSD to work faster and for improving the performance of the SSD. But of course, it has some bad things for good guys. Yeah, bad things for those who are working in forensics. But again, with the help of our technology, with the help of our solutions, you should be able to fight the criminals and get access to formatted cases as well. If the SSD is not supported, is it better to stop trim and then go for recovery process? What is the best scenario if the controller is not supported? So it's a good question, because if the controller is not supported, we won't be able to help you with the formatted drives. Yeah, when the controller is not supported, we are not able to get access to the service information and to rebuild the translator. And when we are not able to rebuild the translator, it is not possible to work with the previous versions and therefore get access to the data. So this is the limitation, of course. How to work with unsupported drives? If I remember correctly, not so long ago, maybe 1, maybe 2 weeks ago, we introduced another article on our blog of how to approach the non-supported drives. You can try to play with the temperature. You can heat up, you can freeze down the drive. Also, you can try to play with the settings of the data extractor, which can be helpful. Sometimes if data are deleted less than 24 hours, we can retrieve some data. Again, it depends from case to case, and I cannot say that in all modern SSDs trim is activated. Sometimes trim is not supported not on the SSD, but it is not supported on the motherboard that you are using. So that's why even if some data has been deleted, maybe it was not trimmed. It was deleted, but it was not trimmed. So in this case, if the drive is healthy, yeah, you can just launch the data extractor task, execute some disk analysis, execute some raw recoveries, and you will be ready to go. How to stop trim in PC 3000? Is it safe? As soon as you enter the special utility for your drive, the trim will be stopped automatically. Technological mode in our software will stop any background operations, any background processes. So you should be not scared because of that. Trim will not be working in the background when the drive is connected to the special utility. So, any more questions? So I cannot see any questions in chat. I cannot see any questions uh, in the file that Jane is prepared for me. So I think that from our side, this is everything that we prepared for today. Thank you very much for your attention. Jane, maybe you have something to tell?
Yes, I'd like to tell thank you for everybody who has joined us today, who actively asking questions. And if any of your questions are still not covered, and maybe you will remember some questions later, please feel free to get in touch with us via email or in social media like WhatsApp or Instagram, or get in contact with our reseller in United Arab Emirates, Scientific Analytical Tools Company. Yeah, and of course, we will be also glad to welcome you at our other future events, both online and on site, including our unique Tech Week event, which is conducted every year since 2003. And this year it will be conducted in Alicante city in Spain since October 7 till October 11. The news about this event will be posted on our website very soon. So please stay tuned not to miss this opportunity to join us in Alicante in Tech Week event. Okay, thank you so much. Have a great day, or yeah, have a great day, and talk to you soon later.
Yeah, thank you.
Goodbye, everybody.